there's a dark side of YouTube that we aren't supposed to see. You'd probably expect YouTube to be an innocent platform for kids to watch their favorite videos, but underneath the surface, there's a twisted side you don't get to see on your front page. I never could have guessed that searching dashcam would result in me finding the most disgusting videos on the internet. I was just looking for reviews on a dashcam I planned on buying, but after scrolling for a while, I found mostly useless reviews. That was until I came across one video that stood out significantly from the rest. It was different, but not in the way you'd think. It was uploaded very recently, titled To Dashcam. The channel name was made up of random characters and had a default profile picture. I knew it wouldn't help my search for a review, but my curiosity got the better of me. I clicked it, not knowing this would be the biggest mistake I'd ever make. The general scene was of a young child sitting behind a rectangular table with nothing behind him except a door. He sat there completely silent for almost a minute before giving a shy greeting. He went on to explain details about a dashcam, but with very vague descriptions. It has a good screen, it's very strong, it'll last a long time. I was kind of freaked out, not exactly the type of review video I was expecting. Something was off about it. Before the recording came to an end, the child sat in silence once more for another minute or so. My first instinct was to believe this was some kind of test video to test a camera. I only realized how much worse the reality was when I checked the channel profile. Clicking on the profile itself didn't reveal much. The About Me section and banner were completely empty. However, there was one other video on the channel, titled One Dashcam. It was uploaded just 1 minute before the second video. The preview photo was nearly identical, just an image of the same child sitting on the chair, so I wondered if they were testing multiple dashcams. Just as before, I allowed my curiosity to get the best of me and opened the second video. This is when I realized this wasn't really a video at all, and instead was one frozen frame from the other clip. A soft ringing noise grew louder during the first few seconds, followed by a robotic voice reading several facts about, apparently, the child. Name, Rodney Wilson, age 9, mother location, jail, father location, deceased, cause of death, beaten, burned. Several moments of silence later, the video ended. A horrible feeling grew in my gut. Surely this wasn't what I thought it was. I told myself it was some cruel joke, but even if it was, finding humor in something so disturbing was completely uncalled for. It looked like an advertisement to sell the child. There must have been a hint somewhere of what the purpose of the videos were, but one thing about the account stuck out to me. A number of people were already subscribed to the channel. Not many people, but more than seemed reasonable for an account made only a few hours earlier, with random numbers as the name. I didn't question the subscribers too much, since they all looked pretty normal at a glance, though seeing them gave me an idea. The best way to find out what these videos were was simply to wait for more of them, so I myself subscribed and left it at that for the time being. I never could have guessed what I had just gotten myself into. A good portion of the day passed before I logged back into YouTube to check on the account from earlier, though to my surprise it had been deleted. No more subscription, no more videos, that was it, until the next morning. I was met with a message on my YouTube account. It said, "You have subscribed to Eyes Below the Sun study," then provided 2 links, but at the end of the message it specified, "Please remember no one has been harmed." Due to the sender of the message being from another account of mixed numbers, I knew this must have come from the person behind the other profile, or at least someone connected to that person. This was the first time I considered that maybe some kind of study was being conducted, but I had to wonder who the subjects were, the people in the videos, or the viewers. Whatever the case, I had told myself I'd wait for more videos, and here they were, so I checked them both out. Each one mimicked the general layout of the videos before. One was of another child sitting in the same empty room, vaguely reviewing some kind of electronic. The other was once again a screenshot of the first, with a robotic voice reading information about the child. Name, Richard Brown, age 12, mother location, deceased, father location, unknown, cause of death, strangulation. Some hours later, the account was once again deleted. For several days, there seemed to be a clear formula at play. I'd be sent a message from a new account with 2 videos. One link would be of a child reviewing something, and the other would be a screenshot of the review video and information about the reviewer. Then, at the end of the day, the account would be taken down. Something was horribly wrong about this. While unusual, I was still waiting for a clear reason to think something was illegal about this. Maybe it was some kind of troll or prank. Besides, the freeze-frame videos were reading details that I slowly suspected were made up. After almost a week, I received another message. But this time, something was different. After clicking on the first link, it went to a video called One Pendant, which described some facts about the child as the previous videos did, but the robotic voice had been replaced with the recording of a woman. It read, "The child's name is Jessica. She's 7 years old and both of her parents are at unknown locations. Due to her refusal to follow procedures, appropriate action will be taken." Odd. What does appropriate action mean? I clicked the next link and saw the usual setup of a child, presumably Jessica, sitting at a table. She began describing a pendant in a vague manner, which was no surprise. However, in the middle of her description, she suddenly stopped and began to weep. A woman standing out of view calmly asked the girl to keep her eyes on the camera, but she continued to cry for a while before asking, "What did you do to my mom?" While the second person in the room wasn't visible, I could guess she began moving around since the video started shaking. Suddenly, the camera was pushed to the side, exposing a door to the bathroom. The woman then revealed herself by entering the now visible second room, taking a moment to shuffle through a cabinet before returning with a pair of scissors and a knife. I wasn't able to get a good look at the person, but a large wound on her face was impossible to miss. It started at the corner of her mouth and carved halfway to her ear. The video then ended. This must have set off some kind of chain reaction, because the next 2 or 3 days had children who were all acting strange. They'd try to describe whatever product they were assigned to, while fighting back tears and glancing at something in the corner of the room out of view. I didn't know what to do. It's not like I could call the police. There was nothing illegal going on that I could see. Until I received the next link. There was only one link that day to something called Zero Eyes. But what could it be? I opened the video and was met with an empty room. Apparently the host hadn't been seated yet. Intense commotion could be heard outside, in the form of footsteps stomping down the hallway towards the door and muffled screaming, apparently from a kid. When the door opened, a man burst through holding a child in his arms. Tape had been put over the boy's mouth, and his arms were tied behind his back. After kicking the door shut with his foot, the man practically threw the child onto the table with so much force that the camera fell over. The scene had changed from the usual table to the corner of the room where the previous children had been uncomfortably glancing at. Laying on the floor naked was the girl from the pendant video, motionless, with wounds covering her entire body. Dried blood streamed down from her eyelids that had been savagely cut or ripped off. While she'd clearly been there for several days, her eyes very slightly vibrated. The child was dying, but still alive. Suddenly, text on a black screen popped up with the words, "Do not be alarmed," for several moments before the video ended. This was the last straw. I wrote down the numbers of the account and the video name before rushing out of my house to the local police station. I can only imagine how frantic I looked when I got there. Even trying to speak was challenging, and it didn't help that the officers impatiently demanded I calm down. Eventually, however, I managed to tell them what I had seen, and they requested I sit tight while they checked out the video themselves right there. Maybe 15 minutes passed before the officers returned to me. Unfortunately, I didn't get there fast enough. The account and video had already been deleted. I didn't lose hope, however, because I knew I'd get another video the next day, so I promised to return when the proof of this nightmare arrived. That night, I didn't sleep well, since the mental image of the mutilated girl was stuck in my brain. I couldn't check my messages on YouTube fast enough when I awoke, and what I found was the following. "Hello, you have been unsubscribed to Eyes Below the Sun study, link 1. Please remember no one was harmed." Upon clicking the link, I gasped at the title of the video. It was a 0 immediately followed by my YouTube username. With a terrible sinking feeling in my stomach, I sat back and watched the scene play. What followed was the regular room with no one visible once again. However, someone standing behind the camera slowly walked into view and positioned herself exactly where the children had sat. I recognized this woman as the one from the one pendant video, the woman with the facial wound. She glared into the camera for a moment before saying, "I'm sorry you didn't understand what I set out to do, but it's not my responsibility to stop your imagination from forcing conclusions. I have made a point of telling all families that no one was hurt, and that is the truth. Bodily pain is an illusion. I'm not responsible for your understanding or lack of understanding of this basic concept." The woman then walked back to the camera and shut it off, ending the video. This was the last I heard of anything relating to these series of events. I did make an attempt to return to the police that day with the video directed at me, but it had been deleted before I got to the station. However, a chill ran down my spine when I realized not only was the video missing, but my entire YouTube history was erased. It was as if the channel, the messages, and the videos never existed. With suspicion in their eyes, the officers asked me to leave the station, warning me about wasting their time. I could barely contain my panic as I returned home, desperate to find some form of proof. I tried to forget about the whole ordeal and even deactivated my YouTube account. But one evening, as I was getting ready for bed, I received an email notification. Hesitant, I opened it. The message contained no text, just an attachment titled, "Last Video, MP4. I played the video, and it was footage from a security camera placed in what looked like my living room. It showed me watching the previous videos on my laptop. At the end of the video, the same woman from before stepped into frame, walking towards my front door. The video ended, but outside, I heard a soft knock.